It was the summer from hell. More than 18.5 million hectares burnt, almost 6,000 buildings destroyed, and 33 people died. It'll forever be known as the Black Summer. And the harrowing devastation still haunts those impacted.
We're all members of this community, and being involved in it, it was just really difficult to see, firsthand the devastation of wildlife, people's properties and homes being lost firsthand. I think you just sort of felt that obligation to go out each day and sort of help that community.
We were left with tragic circumstances. Probably about 95% of the sanctuary was burnt. There's 220 acres here, and it was all untouched original bargo brush, they call it, and it just wiped through the whole lot. So intense, and it was just devastating.
Communities were turned upside down, families torn apart, and livelihoods destroyed. The road to recovery is a long one, and it still rolls on these many months later. But fortunately, it's a road that our regions haven't been forced to venture alone. Our good mates at the Commonwealth Bank are dedicated to helping fire-stricken communities get back on their feet, launching their Bushfire Recovery Grants scheme to resurrect our fire-ravaged regions.
So back in January, which feels like a bit of a lifetime ago now, we launched the Bushfire Recovery Grants program with up to $10 million available to support community organisations, schools and fire brigades to get them back on their feet and recover after the bushfires. So we've been taking applications right through till 30 June and pleasingly we've awarded over 200 grants across Australia.
Devastated by the worst fires in recent memory, CommBank came to the rescue of our heroes at the Picton Rural Fire Brigade, giving them the funding they need to rebuild for their community.
The biggest issue we have is, as being a volunteer, we don't have an income source to fund things, and what CBA is really going to allow us to do is build a new fire station that's not only going to help us better represent and help the community, but it's also going to make a better space for the community.
Down on the way to Goulburn there at Picton Rural Fire Brigade, we've given them just over $50,000 to help support the refurbishment of the brigade there. So they've obviously had a really important part to play in the Green Wattle bushfire back in December, and over 700 volunteer hours to get that fire back under control. So through this grant, we're giving them some support to help improve their training facilities and kind of get the brigade headquarters back up to scratch to make sure they can get ready for the next bushfire season, unfortunately. 9 buildings and 215 out of the 220 acres at the Australian Wildlife Foundation were destroyed by the blaze that came through Bargo. But CommBank was dedicated to helping them rise from the ashes and rebuild. This grant will help them replace some of their equipment which was damaged, so irrigation systems and pumps, as well as simple things like the picnic tables for volunteers to sit and have some lunch at when they're down there doing their conservation work. So a real range of activities to help them get the support they need to get the site back to where it needs to be.
Commonwealth Bank has been awesome through all this, and without that support from them, there's certain things we wouldn't be able to rebuild, like the gardens that are here, a lot of the infrastructure for picnic tables, barbecues, pathways. It's been terrific, and without that, it would certainly be a longer road to recovery.
With the help of Commonwealth Bank, our fire-stricken regions have been given a boost that they so desperately need, marching through this adversity and reaching the light at the end of the tunnel.
I remember firsthand when they called me, I was absolutely speechless, and I think it really goes to the heart of our members that when we found out we had that grant, we've got guys who've been in the brigade for 25 plus years, and they said it was single-handedly the greatest bit of funding and the greatest impact that it'll have on our brigade.
Our deadline to reopen is next March, and without that support from CBA, that just wouldn't happen.
It's just another example of the Commonwealth Bank being there for those in need.